Well, let's give this a shot. We're going to read from the Missions in Madness field manual today. This is called Missions in Madness, Urban Operations Level 1 Mission Set Alpha. And what all that means is it's all the background and how to play Missions in Madness. It's typically played in an urban environment. This is not specialized to the wildland areas that we will eventually have an edition for. It's level 1, so anybody can do it. Level 2 will be much harder than level 3, and so on and so forth. And Mission Set Alpha means that your scenarios are the set A, right? So we'll go through the preface and chapter 1 today. And I won't just be reading it, I'll be adding my thoughts. It's a great picture here of me during a Go Ruck challenge. And my amazing illustrator, Linford Barton, made a drawing from a photograph. And there's a quote associated with this illustration from Viktor Frankl. When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. Now that goes for anything and everything. And of course, Viktor Frankl, he's talking about concentration camp and his experiences there. But I think it applies to everything and anything that we engage in. So here's a preface. There's another quote by Albert Camus. The struggle itself toward the heights is enough to fill one's heart. We must imagine Sisyphus happy. And we know Sisyphus was a king cursed, I guess, to push a stone up a hill, and as soon as he got it to the top, it would roll down, and he would have to go back and roll it back up. When I was a kid, I saw an animation of that, and I don't know if I could find it on YouTube or something, but as the character pushed, it was just a line drawing, pushed the rock up the hill, it got bigger and bigger. And then he would go back and it would get a little smaller, and he would push and it would get bigger and bigger. I saw that probably in the 70s, and it really stuck with me. And the whole idea of Sisyphus and how it's a metaphor for our lives, of course, really, I guess, resonates with me. That, you know, the things that we need to do are hard, and we are enriched by that. Like Camus says, we must imagine Sisyphus happy. What's the alternative? That he's miserable? I guess, but that, you know, what good is that? So the preface. Adventure in real life. It all started with little handwritten strips of paper. Like pulling names out of a hat, we took turns selecting our next destination, our next exercise, and then the activity to complicate our travel. The idea came to me as a way to spice up our monotonous training sessions for our next Go Ruck challenge. We were all understandably losing enthusiasm from just carrying backpacks full of bricks around on Saturdays. By randomizing our destinations around town, shuffling our calisthenics, and adding variety to our marches, Missions and Madness, even in its rudimentary form, made rucking fun. So this started as a way of training up for Go Ruck Challenge. And rucking, in a nutshell, is carrying heavy backpacks around. Makes you stronger, increases cardiovascular strength, and usually do it with people, so it creates community and you get to explore. It wasn't long before I figured out unique ways to build in crucial life skills like situational awareness and responding reflexively to unexpected threats. So it's one thing to be able to respond to a threat, right? But in most programs, you know it's going to happen. In Missions and Madness, there's an element of surprise. As you're playing, at any time there might be within the scenario, an adversary, and you have to respond with a predetermined response. You can't just run away. You have to remember the response that is part of the scenario. That's a very important mental and physical and intellectual skill that we hone in the game. I streamlined play by incorporating a set of dice instead of the slips of paper, a dedicated stopwatch, and a complete field guide with an illustrated manual. Here's our illustrated manual. By engaging each player's imagination, intellect, and emotions with scenarios, mental puzzles, time limits, and penalties, Missions and Madness now turns every training session into a thrilling adventure. So instead of just walking around the park or walking through town with backpack, you've got a game to play. You've got zombies to deal with. You've got pirates to be. You've got dinosaurs to escape from. All along you're learning situational awareness. You're being very observant. You're engaging with people. You're cooperating. The engagement part is huge. We'll get to it. My original intention was to make Missions and Madness every bit as intense as the extreme events it was meant as preparation for, the Go Ruck challenges. But as we ran more games, we found that all sorts of people wanted to join in on the fun and benefit from the experience. In response, I modified the requirements, exercises, and parameters to ensure that Level 1, this book, was accessible to almost anyone. By carefully redesigning the procedures, I replaced intensity with elements of structure, imagination, and cooperation, while maintaining the game's exceptional outcomes. So, what does that mean? Excuse me. I replaced the intensity, so not everyone's required to carry bricks in their backpack anymore. Let's say the calisthenics, the exercises at each objective were much higher initially. And we'll have that in Level 2. All those requirements will be in Level 2. The area of operations was much larger, so you had to travel much longer distances. And the multipliers, the things that we did between objectives, they were much worse. I mean, this isn't easy, but it's at a level that everybody can do, because I exchanged the intensity, like I'm saying, with elements of structure, imagination, and cooperation. So, structure, that's the elements that require your engagement. So, How do we do this? The problem solving elements. Imagination, the scenarios, right? Which we didn't have initially. That means the vampires and everything. And cooperation. So instead of one person being responsible for, say, carrying another person, which that used to be the thing, you can trade off. You can use a litter, for instance, for carrying somebody, or you can make modifications. Missions and Madness is now a fully developed training program with its own methods, principles, and skill set. Over the years, we've run games for many different groups, from young entrepreneurs and empowered women to science festival attendees and the local JROTC, and everything in between. And they've all found amazing value. Missions and Madness adventures have something to offer everyone. From the very beginning, Missions and Madness was designed to be an egalitarian and cooperative enterprise, and it remains a competition-free and judgment-free experience. Everyone takes turns filling every role and sharing every responsibility, whether it is physical, mental, or emotional. That way, each player's natural gifts are valued and new skills are expanded. So everyone gets a chance to be leader, everyone gets a chance to be timekeeper, everyone gets a chance to contribute to Kim questions, situational awareness, and other problem-solving elements. And everyone gets to, like, if you're not a born leader or a trained leader, you get that opportunity. I've witnessed players who have never had the opportunity to lead gain newfound confidence in guiding their team through exciting scenarios. Like I said, I've seen a timid smile on the face of someone finally appreciated, perhaps for the very first time, for their powers of observation. You'd be amazed the different kinds of people who have different kinds of skills that you've never experienced them, and then when you play this game, since it requires everyone's different skills, you learn so much about everybody. Let's see. I've watched the transformation of a disengaged person into someone who truly comprehends what it means to be a team player. It's true. Take a teenager who's, is too cool for school. Once they get a chance to be leader or team leader, assistant team leader, which is a really fun role, then they get engaged and they understand. We've come a long way from that first game with little slips of paper, but the mission and the madness are still the same. Empowerment through intentional activity. Join the adventure. All right. I think we're losing too much light to go into chapter 1, but next time, chapter 1. Also, I can't feel my fingers.